All right, guys, so apparently I'm just a big dumbass. I've tried every setting I know to on this live Facebook. It's just killing me. But anyway, I'm gonna record this and put this up. I found out this Zeus I bought this year, I've got a problem with this channel right here, channel 3. It was working fine, just lovely. I mean, I couldn't ask for any better. And then I shut everything off after I got everything set up, and I just went, come back, and then now it don't work. And I know it's my scope, and I know it's not my leads, because I actually changed channels. And when I changed the channel over from 3 to 4, it works just fine. But anyway, let me show you guys what you're looking at. So this is a Ford 5.4 that I was telling you about. A lot of you guys wonder, well, you know, y'all get involved in checking these things, and you run into a roadblock wondering whether it's out of time or not out of time. So I need to get these things. I'm fixing to turn off this channel. Hang on a second. I'm fixing to turn off a channel real quick. Turn off trace. That would be 3, right? Yeah, I think it's 3. We're going to turn off 3. All right, number 3 is off. We exited out of that. So what I was showing you on a 4-channel lab scope, something just hit the top of my building. Start with, I'm here at home. This is my shop at home. And I'm going to be pulling this engine out of here. And the reason I'm going to pull this engine out of here, we're going to talk about that first. So this car, or this vehicle, has got quite a few codes stored for cylinder 1, cylinder 2, cylinder 3, and a random cylinder 300 misfire. This work right here is electronically. It's a lot faster and a lot easier than mechanically. If I can get this to show me that all my electronic stuff is working, I'm putting an engine in it, or I'll do a repair. At 180,000 miles, I don't think it's best to be ripping the heads apart on this thing, which I'll show you. It is in the cylinder heads themselves. I did post a link on here about what do I have when I showed y'all a relative compression test with the Ford IDS system, which is just fine and dandy. You can go back and look, but that shows me that I have an actual internal mechanical issue. So that was one of the very first tests, the second test actually that I done. One of the first tests I think that everybody really and truly should do. We're going to back out of this lab scope. When you're using any type of scanner, it is always a very good rule of thumb, if your scanner is capable of it, then I would suggest you going through all the control, what have you, but I don't know who's paid hourly if you're very good at it. But anyway, we're going to code menu. We're going to back out of this. I don't know why it jumped so far. All right, so we have all these lists of controllers that are on here. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, like 15 controllers, 16 controllers. We're actually going to do a code scan, and we're going to do a pre-scan. That is one of the things that I recommend that every young technician do, and even I still do it daily. It doesn't matter whether it's one or not. If it comes back with a controller that didn't, I know either A, I need to find out whether it's listed on the vehicle as an option, or B, I need to take this vehicle and see if there is a problem with the actual controller if it is an option on the vehicle. But we're not going to go through all that. We're going to back out. We're going to go back into engine. We're going to look at codes display. Now, I'm pretty sure it probably doesn't have any codes stored in here because I have had the battery disconnected, and I think I cleared the codes in it once upon a time. So you'll see, actually we do have a post-cat fuel trim code stored. We actually also had that too. So we got some fuel trim issues. We'll get into fuel trim issues one day, but we're not today. But we're going to run over here to functional test, and we're going to look at special functions. Now, a lot of you guys may be running this scanner, and that's good. You may be familiar with it, you may not. I suggest you take this thing on a test drive on everything that y'all work on. And the reason being is you can capture more data and more information just by looking at numbers if you have one particular vehicle that y'all run into all the time that may come in running great, but may come back in running like crap. And you've already looked at the numbers or saved some stuff, and you'll be like, hey, yeah, man, I know what's wrong with this vehicle. I know where to go. So we got cylinder number 1 and number 2 and 1, 3, and 2 down. almost positive there is a blowed head gasket between number 3 and now when you get actually also affect another cylinder in line with it. Now my number 1, my number 3, and number 4 I know seems to be a mechanical problem, so that when I saw that I was like, okay, I want to know if I have an issue with my timing. So that's when I decided to go ahead and jump over into my lab scope. Now in order for you guys to hook up the lab scope, you got guided component tests. You can actually jump into guided component tests, and it'll walk you through exactly how to hook up your lab scope leads. Now I personally use these right here. I'm gonna show y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and unhook this ignition coil because the daggum thing just for some reason it didn't want to work. You can purchase these kits very cheap, and I know y'all keep buying tools over and over and over and over again, but these little boogers right here, they're awesome. I like them. They're back probers, and I like to back probe versus piercing the wire. So with that being said, we're going to jump back over into our scope. We're going to go to our lab scope, our 4-channel, and we're going to look at this. Now this number is my fuel injector, so I know that my fuel injector is capable of working. Now channel 1 and channel 2. Channel 1 is bank 1. Channel 2 is bank 2. If you can take these two little boogers, once you hook these things up into your camshaft sensors on the output side, okay, you can tell real easily whether you have a problem with your camshaft timing or phasers. I can actually activate those phasers and knock this thing out of time. So this is a really good pattern right here. So I'm feel real comfortable. I don't have a timing issue. I've got a cylinder head issue. Now the other mechanical thing to do is to really nail it down if you guys want, and that's just strictly up to you guys. Y'all can start doing cylinder compression tests with compression gauges, cylinder leakage test, but I'm not going to go that far. I feel more comfortable replacing this 180,000 mile engine knowing the issues that they have. So yeah, we could go in and spend at least to do everything on the front of the engine. That's half the cost of an engine. If he's got a having head, you know, you're even getting even more up there. So this is just one way to really just tie down whether you have timing that's jumped or not jumped, or changed it or jumped, or even variable valve timing solenoid actuators that could be stuck. There's just so many multiple ways of actually checking these things, but the easiest thing to do is just get familiar with your lab scope. You can actually save and record pictures of this stuff for your own personal library as years goes by, because it might be 3 weeks before you touched another 5.4, and you may have forgotten something at that time, but you can do that. Snap-on actually has training and support in here. You can go in and learn how to use it and operate their system. They actually have SureTrack too, and I'm not a big fan of it. I'll talk to you about that one day too, but I'm just not happy about that. Bunch of different things in here. You can go under here and look at a ton of different data. You can look at the fuel trims. They was talking about the fuel trims being off on this thing right here. So we'll take a peek at these. We actually have already pulled the converter O2 sensors, looked in there, make sure the converters were not stopped up. They're not. You guys have hundreds of PIDs, just hundreds of them. You can actually customize them. If you want to customize them, I suggest that highly, and bring up only what you want to bring up. The reason being is it actually makes your processor and the information coming into here a lot smoother and a lot faster. But right now I just mainly want to show you how to simply hook up to your camshaft sensors on both banks, just to make sure that they are in time and they are working very well. So I guess I'll be showing you some shots of this engine being removed. So I'm going to do a split cab on this. I'm not going to rip this engine out. I'm too old to be digging over in the back of this thing. He'd rather have this frame, or excuse me, the body up in the air. So that's what I'm going to do with this truck. It's a lot simpler, I believe, than dealing with, you know, laying over in this engine. And it keeps you from breaking a lot of things. So remember, first off, we're going to back up and regroup. Get familiar with your lab scope. I'm gonna actually invest in a Pico next. That's gonna be one of the last pieces of equipment I buy. Do your back probing with your back probing pins. That's even a better thing. Let's back out of this. Let me see if I can back up, back up, back up. Yeah, there we go. All right, so back probing pins, always make sure you use them instead of piercing into the wires. If you have to pierce into the wires, make sure you use elastic tape or whatever tape that you use to cover the hole up. Because if you service that vehicle for many years and one day it's got a problem and it runs into a corroded wire, you're gonna kick yourself because you're gonna remember, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Cost myself all this trouble right here. Then you're gonna be at a dilemma of, should I charge the customer or should I not charge the customer? At that point, that's your decision. Me personally, I'd say, well, I screwed up. That's not my fault. It is my fault, so I screwed up, so I'm gonna take care of it. But anyway, all right guys, this engine is fixing to be coming out of this here truck. I just wanna let y'all know what's going on with it. And that's the proper way to diagnose an issue with this. I can go further. I'm not gonna go further because it's all about working smarter, not harder. You do have options of talking to your customer, saying, yes sir, we can pull this engine apart, fix it and put it back in a row, but you're probably looking at, you know, $5 or better to do heads, timing chains, everything on that stuff. I'm pretty sure that if a good repair shop is doing what they're to, it ain't nothing to spend $5,000 on doing a repair on one of these engines, and that's not a full-blown overhaul. But unless you guys have, you know, different means than I do, we're a small town. A lot of our older guys that used to do a lot of the engine building and stuff, I did too, but it's very time consuming. And I'm not going out and running out and buying all the equipment that I have to stay at a later date with all this other stuff. Yeah, I have all the tools and stuff to do on the stuff on the outside or timing and all that stuff, but I just don't want to get back involved in building engines. I did it years ago. I was younger then. I was stupider then, but I'm a little bit smarter now. I just want the vehicle to come in, go out with something that I can guarantee the customer is going to have good results with. We got together, we talked, I told him, said yes, so we can fix it. But you're gonna be at X amount of number of dollars. If it was me, I'd just do it right. That way he's got a 4-year warranty on the new engine. Yeah, and they're definitely giving up the 4-year warranty on these engines. All right guys, peace out. Y'all take care, and I hope you enjoy this video.